Hi, this is Dr. Jenny, and this is the third series of problems related to your homework. As you recall, we're working in My Finance Lab, and the problems in My Finance Lab are similar to those that are in the textbook. So today we're going to look at problem 429, and if you'll notice, it's basically considering efficiency analysis, where we're looking at average collection periods. We're looking at if we reduce our average collection period, what will be our new accounts receivable, and then we're also looking at what would happen to our what's our level of inventories given our turnover ratio is 9 times. So essentially in this problem, you're required to do a little bit of calculation using algebra. And so let's get started. One of the things I always do when I lay out a problem is I go find the formula. So that's what this is that I'm highlighting here. That is the formula. So average collection period is just accounts receivable divided by annual credit sales, which is actually divided by 365. So we're finding out what our daily sales are. And so what we have to do, they give us accounts receivable 562,500 in Part A, and then they tell us that we have 9 million in sales and 75% of those are on credit. So we need the accounts receivable number, and that's how we calculate it. We just take the 9 million times the 75%. Then we're going to take the 562.5, that accounts receivable, and divide it by the daily sales. The daily sales is basically just this number divided by 365. Some textbooks will use actually use 360, but this is just the daily sales number, daily sales calculated from working through this. We're just finding out what that is. So that's a number. Reason I want to bring that up is because then in Part B, it tells us to reduce its average collection period from the 30.42, what we calculated up here, down to 20 days. If we do that, what will be the new level of accounts receivable? So we have to use algebra where we can set 20 days equals, the 6750 divided by 365, and it'll come up, we'll find our accounts receivable number. We can do that, or what I like to do is just go ahead, like what we've done up here, is find the daily sales, then just multiply that amount by 20, and that way we come up with our new accounts receivable if a collection period is reduced to 20 days. For Part C, this is really probably giving you a little more calculation to do. You've got to kind of go at this backwards. They tell us that we have an inventory turnover ratio is 9 times, and what's the level of inventory, so we're having to back into it. So the first thing you have to do is find out that, okay, it tells me that my gross profit margin is 30%. If that's the case, then my cost of goods sold must be 70%, a very high amount. So for 9 million of in sales, if we multiply that times 70%, that'll give us $6.3 million in inventory, or in cost of goods sold. Now we can calculate it just by taking that 6.3 million and dividing it by 9 for my turnover, and I will end up then with my new inventory of 700,000. Now this is just a way, a way to kind of calculate things out. Be careful that when you read the problems in My Finance Lab, you look at how they want them presented. Remember, if you present it with 2 decimal places instead of none, they will mark it wrong, okay? And you can redo some of this work, but it is frustrating to have points taken away for something like that, especially when you understand the concept. So hopefully this helped you with a problem like it in My Finance Lab, and I look forward to talking to you next time.